Well, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here on Monday, April 13th. Yes, it is indeed 2026. It is beautiful spring weather outside here in Lafayette, Indiana. And I'm inside talking to you guys who I hope are watching from somewhere nicer. Maybe you're laying in Columbian Park with a phone watching me instead of sitting at home. But so glad that everybody is here today on a spring Monday in Lafayette, Indiana, as we always do. Let me know where you're watching from. Always fun to see where people are watching and maybe what you're watching on. I go back and look at the analytics, and always kind of fun to see who's watching on a phone, who's watching on a tablet, who's watching on a TV. I don't know about you, but I actually watch my YouTube on TV. I'm a big Apple fanboy here, so Apple TVs everywhere on all our TVs in the house. By all our TVs, I mean the two TVs in the house, and do my YouTube watching on Apple on the TV. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. Got stuff to talk about here. If you've never watched before, I'm Jeff Gooch. I'm a local realtor with the Russell Company, powered by App Properties. And every Monday on At Lafayette Live, I talk about everything here in the Greater Lafayette area. Fun things to do, things going on in the community. Talk a lot about development, both commercial and residential, because of course the commercial development influences the residential development, and the residential development influences the commercial development. Talk about fun trips, talk about the market, talk about real estate. We go on some fun home tours. And if you're looking for home here in the Lafayette area, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and you can fill out that form. And throughout the show, all of my contact information is there below. But we've done that, talked about that. Let's dig in. So first off, and I don't want to harp on this, but it is such a big deal here in the Greater Lafayette area. We start off, as we so often have recently, with three words. It's a name, with SK Hynix. You could say that construction is underway in earnest. We talked about a month or so ago about the fences going up, and they have started grading work, and they now have the permits to start foundation work, and they are driving pilings in the site right now as you speak. If you drive by the site, you can see a ton of cranes with pile drivers on them right now. So progress is going ahead at pace. Now, there are still legal challenges rumbling away. We've got a few local citizens who have sued to put a stop to this development. But SK Hynix is moving ahead with the construction, and I'm not going to get into the details of all of the legal cases. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV. But basically, they want to try to stop the construction on the basis of the permitting being the rezoning being invalid. SK Hynix is moving ahead, and they will start vertical construction soon-ish in the coming months. They haven't filed permits for that, and there's this where I think we're in this little bit of a tense time of, are these cases going to get swept away because the construction has started and is ongoing, or is SK Hynix liable here and potentially could be left holding the bag of, the sunk cost of the construction that has gone on so far? If I were a betting man on this particular case, I'm going to go with the construction's going to go ahead. I don't have, legal precedent. I can't cite why I think that from on a legal basis with case law. I just feel that, the construction has started. They have a strong enough case. They've made the investment, and this is what development looks like here in the Greater Lafayette area. So construction has started. If you want to go see it, you can drive right by. It's hard to miss, but if you want to stay up to date on the construction progress out there at SK Hynix, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a minute of all the content. that we put out here and all of the updates that we put out here every Monday on At Lafayette Live and on YouTube on the Lafayette Reel. A little more fun. Oh no, we'll save the fun one after this one. I was going to say related to. This is not so much related to as tangential to, perhaps. We've got some road development. The West Lafayette City Council at their last meeting signed off on an agreement with Tippecanoe County to start building County Road 425 North, which is going to be the east-west connector that's going to be between Calbearer and 500 North. That's going to connect Yeager Road and Soldiers Home Road. On one hand, it's being looked at as perhaps a connector, part of the SK Hynix development, but on the other hand, it's really a needed connector because of the development of the neighborhoods that have been going up along that corridor. We have the expansion of the Arbor Chase subdivision. We also have the Mill Creek subdivision going up here soon. That's going to it's going to drive more traffic into that general vicinity. So 425 North is not the end of road development here on the north side of West Lafayette. Indeed, I'm going to put it more towards the beginning of this phase of construction. I think we're going to see major roads continuing to get more development work as we move forward, and we're going to see, north of 500 and 600 even north, that is, turn into larger roads with, is amenities the right word for a road? Things like sidewalks and berms and roundabouts and things like that. So that's happening. You can check out, West Lafayette actually has a really, really great website to check on municipal projects in the city at West Lafayette Moves, WLMoves.com, and you can keep up to date on all of the projects that West Lafayette is working on. So there you go, a little bit of a road update. Now we can talk about some fun stuff. The Columbian Park Zoo is now open for the season. It opened for the season last weekend. If you have never been, or it's been a while since you've been there, I can't tell you how much of a great place the Columbian Park Zoo is to have here in the Greater Lafayette area. It's, of course, in Columbian Park. For the moment, it's spring hours, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. daily. And then at May 23rd, it'll be 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. There is an admission fee. It's $3 for everybody, and those three younger than 3, so 0, 1, and 2 are free. So it's no big city zoo, as a friend of mine would say. It's not the Indianapolis Zoo. It's not the Grant Park Zoo. But for Lafayette, it's a great fun place to take kids for the afternoon. Heck, it's a great place for adults to go walk around and enjoy seeing some animals here in Lafayette. So the Columbian Park Zoo officially open for the spring season, and before you know it, all of our summer activities are going to be open for the season. I've talked about a few of them. The Lakeshore Drive-In up in Monticello has their free weekend coming up in a couple of weeks. We got a couple of movies that I want to go see up there. They're showing 4 movies: The Outsiders, Back to the Future, Twister, and Jurassic Park, I think, are the 4 movies that they're showing. I didn't take note of what those were, and then Indiana Beach will be opening at the beginning of May. I tell you what, outside right now, well, earlier at least, it felt a little more like summer than spring. So I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to get to it. All right. I'm going to go log into my next story. Oh no. My data source for my market update has gone offline. So I'm going to skip ahead in the show order and try that again here in a little while and hope that comes back. Otherwise, we might wind up with a slightly short show. Um, Not a lot of other development work that came up in the last couple of weeks that either like we haven't talked about ad nauseum or that isn't far enough along in the process here. So this week's development news is a little bit short. I think that we're kind of in this waiting time in between spring, late winter, early spring, and then the summer, if you will, late spring, early summer. Um, where we're just kind of waiting for everything to come back to life and for everything to start hopping again. So we'll have a lot more to come. All right, I'm going to hit refresh one more time. Let's see if it comes up this time. Nope. All right, so we're going to skip ahead. But before we skip ahead, hit the like and, not that one. Hit the like and subscribe button. Believe it or not, it matters. The more likes, the more subscribers we have on YouTube is the more people like you can go find out about the Lafayette Reel and at Lafayette Live. So if you haven't already, if you tune in and watch the show every week, or if you tune in and watch the show for the first time, hit that button. Just do it. It matters. All right, so I always, when we do home tours, I always try to have a little something that ties the home tours together. Some sort of theme. Sometimes it's fun to go to the most expensive homes in the area. Sometimes it's fun to go to the largest homes. Walking distance to Purdue University is always super popular. Pool homes, lake homes. There are things that tie it together. I started to put kind of a little bit of a theme together around North 9th Street and Highland Park homes this afternoon, but wound up with kind of a slightly more eclectic collection than I perhaps completely intended to. So we're kind of going to call these South 9th Street and near South Lafayette homes. I don't really have a great title that ties them all together other than a general vicinity. But I'm going to show you the map for the first one. And then I'll kind of talk about what ties these homes together geographically. So the first one that we're going to look at tonight is 811 South 9th Street, which is a home that was built in 1868, but you wouldn't know it. And that's a little bit of a theme that ties some of our homes together. But South 9th Street, of course, if you're in the Lafayette area, I think you know where 9th Street is. I'm going to show you on the map. So here's our home on 9th Street. Now, like I said, I kind of started out with like Highland Park homes, which is like the stately old home neighborhood in Lafayette. It's got some beautiful old homes that were the homes of the rich and famous of yesteryear, if you will, and they've been really well taken care of overall. But I wound up with not quite that collection. So while I'm talking about this home here on 9th Street, I'm kind of talking about a corridor of homes that are kind of between 9th Street and 18th Street, kind of in the Kossuth corridor, a little south of Kossuth. And these are older homes, and this particular set of homes are all well taken care of. But that's kind of the thing that ties them together. It's not they're all Highland Park. You might call them Highland Park adjacent. You might call them near South Side. You might call them Old Town. But that's our location of our first one. And just if you're not familiar with the Lafayette area, it's here on the south, just the near south side of Lafayette, and over here is West Lafayette, where Purdue University is. So let's bring up the home, and we'll take our tour of 811 South 9th Street in Lafayette. This one is a beautiful 4-bedroom, 2-bath with 2,658 square feet. And like I said, it was built in short-term memory here, 1868. So it is more than a century. Almost do some 132, 152. It's 158 years old. But as we go to take the tour, and you'll see the Victorian influence on the outside. It is Victorian, but it's not the super ornate, overt one. But when you move inside, there is absolutely no doubt. I mean, look at the wood archways, the wood trim, the wood banister. It's absolutely beautiful on the inside. A lot of woodwork that has been well taken care of. A lot of original woodwork there. You move into the living room with the typical connected dining area of homes of that age. You got the large rooms with the high ceilings, with the 12-foot ceilings, and then we start moving over towards the dining room and the kitchen that has been updated and modernized. This is not an 1868 kitchen. This one is not over the top. It is a beautiful Victorian home that has been taken care of and updated and brought up to date, but not in such a way that it's, a ridiculous, millionaire's home. And I'm not going to tell you what the price is till we get to the end. No, there's anything wrong with millionaires' homes, but believe it or not, this one is actually in reach. It's not quite a starter home, but it honestly could be in with today's market prices. We move upstairs and start to move away from the wood. I mean, the wood is still there, but now we get some carpet on the floor, and instead of the wood finish, we get some paint on all of the trim work. Large bedrooms. In some cases, these might be rooms that had the walls knocked down at some point. Got the modernized bathroom. Like I said, this one is 4 bedrooms and 2 baths with 2,700 square feet. And one thing you'll notice amongst all of these Victorians is they don't tend to lack for space. So lots of things that you can do with the various rooms, make them bedrooms, make them offices, make them music rooms. But quite a lot of them have these finished attic spaces that are actually in the envelope of the home that give you rec rooms, art studios, lots of storage, lots of closet space, fun little funky spaces just because of the architecture of the house itself. And then you move out to the backyard and you have the old style, I would call it shotgun style backyard with the detached garage, the stonework patio, and this one has the 2-car garage with the side. Well, it's a front-loading garage. It's turned sideways. Move down to the basement. That is, perfectly utilitarian basement. You got your laundry set up down there, and perfectly fine for a basement. You might look at that and go, "Oh my, that's scary." But that's a normal basement for that kind of home. That is 811 South 9th Street, built in 1868, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Has that basement, has that wonderfully finished 3rd floor attic space, 2,658 square feet. Currently listed for $378,500. On a feature, location, and price standpoint, I think it would be hard to do better on this. A 300,000 a home in the 300s with this kind of space that has been taken care of, that has the historic character, but that has been updated. You'd be hard pressed to find anything else like that. So go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out that form, and we can go take a tour of this home together, or any home in the Greater Lafayette area. And then we're going to continue our tour of homes in the South 9th Street /Kossuth corridor here with 701 Kossuth Street. This one, of course, is right on Kossuth. It's in the title, and it's kind of got this stucco finish here. I'll put it on the map for us before we get into the tour. Like I said, it's right on Kossuth, one of the major east-west roads through the south side of Lafayette. So right here on Kossuth, on the northern end of the Highland Park neighborhood. Here is South Street 26 through Lafayette, and if we zoom out a little bit more, we'll see this is Lafayette. This is West Lafayette. I mean, location-wise, it really doesn't get any more central than that. So let's go on our tour. 701 Kossuth Street in Lafayette. This one is 4 bedroom, 4 baths. It is a pretty whopping 4,566 square feet on slightly more than a quarter acre. And part of the room for that whopping square footage is, of course, this, you could call this a sunroom, a four-season room, an enclosed porch, but, definitely, an inside-outside living space that stays warm with the hydronic floorboard heater there in the winter. Moving on to the living room with floorboard heaters and lovely, lovely wood floors. Got the light colors, makes it feel light and airy and spacious. Not that this home isn't spacious. You have the storm shutters on the insides that gives you that architectural feel. The tile work in the dining room. I rather like this kitchen. It hits all the right accents. It's got the in-wall oven, and it's got the two-bay recessed sink, and you have a countertop gas stove that is really kind of designed in galley style, but still doesn't quite feel galley style. Lots of windows. You got the French doors. And then we move out to this enclosed porch. I mean, this is outdoor living at its finest. You have the stonework around the fireplace. You have the TV too high. Don't put a TV there. You have the woodwork on the ceiling. If I remember correctly, I think that is actually a Trex floor. But then we move back inside. You got the built-ins for your office and study. Move out to the primary with carpet. Not everybody loves carpet. I get it. And then you have the bathroom that has all of the modern amenities that isn't a complete waste of space. I mean, yes, you have the soaking tub, you have the large rainforest shower, and this one has the toilet in the open. A lot of homes of that style will have the toilet in a water closet separate. So if you want all the amenities of a modern bathroom but don't waste all the space, I think that's kind of a great middle ground to strike there. Like I said, this one is 4 bedrooms and 4 baths, so lots of little spaces to look at. Then you move down and you have your wine cellar. It doesn't have to be a wine cellar. Turn it into your theater. You got the second-story deck overlooking your lovely landscaped backyard with your outdoor kitchen if you like to cook and you want to cook in the summer. Look at that. Love it. 2-car garage. And there's the outside of the screened-in porch that we were looking at, and the 2-story deck with the retractable awning sunshade over it. So that is 701 Cassuth Street here in the Highland Park neighborhood of West Lafayette. It is 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. It is 4,566 square feet on about a quarter acre, currently listed for $750,000. If you want to check this home out, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and we'll go check it out together. Because if you didn't know, I'm Jeff Gooch with the Russell Company, powered by App Properties, and I would love to be your local Lafayette real estate resource of choice. And now on our third tour home of our tour of South 9th Street and Cassuth homes, we're going to tour this one's a little further east than the first two. We're going to look at a home on Adams Street, specifically 1400 Adams Street. And as I get it pulled up here, I'll give you a little preview of it, and then I'll show you the map. This one, again, lovingly restored. This one was built in 1898, so it's 128 years old. Does it look 128 years old? Nope, no it doesn't. But if you don't know where Adams Street is, it is right here. So here's Adams. It's the east-west street that connects, runs between 11th and 18th Street, just a little south of Kossuth. And we kind of, like I said, this is Highland Park right here. So just a couple blocks east of Highland Park. I'd call it almost Highland Park adjacent, definitely adjacent to the 9th Street corridor, not quite all the way over to 18th Street. And if you're not familiar with the area, here is Lafayette, and we're on the near south side of Lafayette, and here's West Lafayette and Purdue University. So location-wise, you really, really can't beat it. So let's go on the tour. This is 1400 Adams Street in Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,348 square feet, built in 1898. But looking at it from the outside, you would not know that. And you would also not know it from the inside as we move from the out to the in. Look how lovingly updated this is. They have kept the wood trim around the windows, but updated with modern wood trim on the opposite side of the room. You got the wood floors, two-tone. You got the darker wood in the dining room and the lighter wood in the living room, kind of the Scandinavian influence in the living room area with the slatted wall that I would take that TV down off of. Also got the archways with the original wood moving into the darker wood, and the wood doors in the dining room. And the kitchen that is modern, but again, much like an earlier tour, not over the top. It is a perfectly fine kitchen. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Moving on down, we have the main floor powder room and the laundry room. Always lots of French doors in these old Victorians. And you can kind of see that some of the wood is better taken care of more than others. That leaves you a little bit of work, sweat equity that you can put in yourself, and the price kind of reflects it. And as we move up to the primary suite, you can see that, we've got the updated wood beams here. We've got, well, I was going to talk about the bathroom. We're going to move into the bathroom here in a second. Here we go. We have a modernized bathroom with the dual basin sinks, the soaking tub, and the rainforest shower. I don't see any regular shower heads in this shower. I can't remember if I saw some when I walked around it or not. But definitely slightly more modern upstairs than downstairs. Definitely kept some of the a few more touches of the old in some of the rooms downstairs than in the up. Then we move up to the attic space. But the bathrooms have been well taken care of here. And then we move down to the basement. That is a little bit of a well, this is not the basement. This is the service area, if you will. Been sealed. Got the detached garage and shed out back. So how much do you think that this one's going for, if you had to guess? Little AI there. I'm not a giant fan of AI in this application. That is 1400 Adams Street in Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,348 square feet. And the answer is $375,000. Again, dollar for dollar, feature for feature, it's going to be hard to beat this much square footage, these kind of features, this kind of update in the Greater Lafayette area. And if you want to go check that home out, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let's go on a tour of this home or any home here in the Greater Lafayette area. Because I'm Jeff Gooch, and I am your local Lafayette real estate resource of choice. You can fill out that form, and you can also check out all of my contact information right here on the screen, and we can work together on all of your real estate needs here in the Greater Lafayette area. All right, I'm going to give another check on my, oh, fantastic. The server is back up. All right, we're going to go back to earlier in the show now. We're going to look at a market update for the Greater Lafayette area here in April of 2026. We do this about once a month, and it's time for our monthly update because people always ask me, how's the market? And what you really mean by that is how's the value of my house? And everything is the answer is always, well, it depends. But no, that's not really the answer. The answer is that the Greater Lafayette area market is doing really, really well. And we're going to begin with inventory. And this is the average daily inventory by month across all of Tippecanoe County. And you will see here that we're looking at a 5-year look back. And you can just kind of follow this line for yourself and see ups and downs. But those ups and downs we're kind of in a straight line, if you will, in a range for a while here. And we get over here to the right-hand side of the graph. In March of 26, it was 261. And the peak, and this is the number of homes that are for sale right now. At the peak, it was in October of 2025, there were 395 on the trend, and that's average daily inventory, so that's averaging across an entire month. It's not a snapshot of any given day, but you can see that the inventory trend is up. There are more homes for sale now than there have been in any time in basically the previous 5 years. From about March, the upturn started at about April of 2025, so about a year ago till now. The trend has been up and up and up, and you can see that it actually fell a little bit here in the winter, but that's, if you've watched the show at all, real estate is a seasonal thing. I always talk about the fact that it's tied to the weather. The colder it gets outside, the less homes are sold. People don't like moving in the winter, and that's what's going on here. So more homes for sale than there have been over the last 5 years. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a good thing. That means that buyers have more choice. That means that when you go look at a home, there might be another home or 2 or 3 that might fit your criteria that you can go look at the same time. Now, not always, but when we were down here in the doldrums of these, less than 100, 100 to 150, that's the kind of thing where a home would go on the market and you'd have 20 showings in the first day, and then you'd have highest and best in no time at all. Not super healthy. And then the next piece of data that we'll look at is new listings. This is how many new homes enter the market. And in March of 2026, it was 218. And again, you can see that it's up and down seasonally, and the bottom of the market is always in the winter. December. It's always December. And some of these statistics, it kind of might be October, November, December, January, maybe February. And in new listings, it's always December. People are going to holiday parties, people are doing Christmas, people are staying inside away from the cold. But we'll see that new listings are at 218, and we're right on trend. New listings kind of in the last 5 years, their peaks were in 2021 and 2022, and then it had been anemic in 23, 24, and started to grow again finally in 25, and then we had the normal fall off that we would expect to see in the winter, and we are growing again. And I expect that peak to at least hit what it hit in 2025 here in 2026, of being around 300 new listings in the month. Now, will it be slightly more? Will it be slightly less? Remains to be seen. I don't think it's going to be statistically significant more or less. I think it's probably going to be about the same. You can see here that the 5-year change is only 1%, but right now it's an 8% year over year gains. So 293. So 1% being about 3 homes, so that'd be about 24 homes. So if we did 8% more in May of this year, we'd be talking about, let's see, 297, 317 homes. So, even if we did 8% more, we're not going to be, not going to be a whopping more, but new listings are healthy. They're coming on the market. We're not sitting down in the doldrums, and we're certainly not retreating. Now, the next statistic we're going to look at is closed sales. This is the complete sale offered on the home, got through due diligence, did all the inspections, did all the financing, did all the things, and we got to the closing table, signed the papers, and now the home is yours. And in March of 26, it was 153 closed sales. Now, that's still historically a rather anemic level. If we look back to 21, 21 was an abnormal year. It was pretty high. It was almost 300, 283, and then it came back. It came back down. Are we going to see more going forward into this year? Well, we're going to see more than we are at right now. Will we see more than last year? Well, right now we're at a 16% year over year change for March. I anticipate that to continue that way. Our bottom was slightly lower. In 26, our bottom was 86. It was 95. We're talking about a handful of sales. Yes, it is a large percentage when you're talking about anything less than 100, when you're talking about moving 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 places. But I think that the closed sales is showing us that the local market here in Tippecanoe County and Lafayette and West Lafayette and all of Tippecanoe County is healthy. Days on market, this is the amount of days it takes to sell a home from the time that you put the for sale sign in your front yard till you have an accepted offer. I like talking about this one a lot. It had, over the last few years, been extremely low. And if you look here, you'll see on the graph for most of the last few years, it's been 5 or less for a good bit of the year, and no more than about 10 for the rest of the year. We had a pretty big spike in the fall. Starting in the summer, we got to 19, and then in October, we got to 29, and all the way up to 45 days in January. Now, that might seem like an eternity. That's about 6.5 weeks. But historically, that's much more of a normal number, and I'm talking about 10, 15, 20, 30 years when I say historically. Now, if you'll see here, in February, it fell back to 12, and in March, it was 9 days. So a week and 2 days on average, and this is the median for a house to sell. But there are still homes for sale here. There are more homes for sale than there have been. So the home sale speed is picking up, but it means that more homes are coming on the market. Again, just a sign of a healthy market, I think. Months of inventory. This one is a calculation on, if we sold everything that's currently on the market at the rate that's currently selling, how long would that take? And historically, we've wanted that average to be north of 3, and you'll see that we finally kissed 3 around the end of the year, beginning of the year, but we have come back down to 2. I think, again, just signs of a healthy market. Hey, Jeff, when are prices going to go down? When's the market going to retreat? When should I buy? Well, the answer to all that is you should buy when you need to, because the market's going to do what the market's going to do. That's just always been the case. And then the final number that we'll look at is median sales price. And the median sales price in March was $303,000. Now, it's down 6% year over year, but check it out. It is up 40% over 5 years. And if you look at the line, you'll see, it goes up and down, but the up and down, move. So it's stair stepping up, and people look at me and go, oh my gosh, how can I afford a home? They're just so expensive. When are they going to go back to real price levels? And the fact is that they're not. Materials costs are up. Labor costs are up. people like having value in their home. These prices over the last few years seem to be sustainable, and there's no sign in the market that they're going to retreat. Now, you start talking about things like interest rates and international and national politics, and do they affect the real estate market? Do they affect prices? Do they affect the market, time on market, how hard or easy it is to sell your home? 100%. But the thing that drives your home sales even more is how our local market is doing. And if you live here in the Greater Lafayette area, or you're thinking about coming to the Greater Lafayette area, you must know that our local economy is thriving. Whatever you think about SK Hynix, positive or negative, them coming to the area is a sign of the strength of our economy and the development of business here in our area. GE Aviation, Rolls-Royce Aviation, Saab Aviation. I'm listing lots of aviation here. Nanshan Aluminum, and then the old line manufacturers that are also here. We have a strong high-tech manufacturing base. We have a strong old line manufacturing base. We have Subaru building cars and building hybrids here in the Lafayette area. We have new development coming as far as business and jobs. We have a few thousand homes that are finally starting to break ground here, and residential market's going to start to keep up with that. So the conclusion on all of this data is that right now, in April of 2026, the local real estate market here in the Greater Lafayette area, and that's Lafayette and West Lafayette, Tippecanoe County, and indeed all the surrounding counties, Benton and White and Fountain, and all of the surrounding counties, are healthy and growing and doing well. So if you need to move, you need to move. If you've outgrown your home, if your kids have moved out and you need to downsize, if you're coming to the area because of a job, if you need to sell because you've gotten a job somewhere else, the answer is the time is now. And I would love to be, and you know what, I wouldn't love to be, I am your local Lafayette real estate resource of choice. Contact me at all of the information below, or simply go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube, fill out that form, and let me know how I can be your Lafayette local real estate resource of choice. And also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us a lot here on the channel, helps us bring content to you and to everybody out there who wants to know and indeed needs to know about the Greater Lafayette area. And with that, I'll say thank you for joining me on a Monday here in April. I look forward to seeing you on another Monday on @Lafayette Live. Have a great week, everybody.